some people have a singular passion, others wear multiple hats, and still others simply stumble upon the road they're on today. Life is never a straight line or an upward graph for anyone, and different things work for different people. What I'm curious about is what has got certain individuals to be where they're at today and what will fuel them on. My guest on the show today is a homemaker. She's not only made a beautiful, warm, comfortable home for her own family, but has done the same for hundreds and thousands of travelers to Hyderabad in need of a home away from home. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on TikTok CEO and founder of Concord Comfort Serviced Apartments, Hyderabad's first and most preferred serviced apartments. Please welcome Ranju Sharma. Thank you so much for being on TikTok. Thank you for having us over at your lovely home. So the last time we met, you were teaching us at primary school, a bunch of kids, including your eldest and I. Did you always aspire to be a teacher?
Well, not really, but I loved kids, loved teaching. A couple of things I love doing, and I think I'm blessed, have been able to do all of that in short stints.
So you haven't stayed with teaching, obviously. You were now CEO and founder of Concord Comfort Serviced Apartments. Was there a lot that happened in between that you did in short stints between the teaching and...
Lots. More than what most people would do. Maybe because I never started out thinking I'd really make a career of anything. So I got married pretty early, I was barely out of college, got married, and then I was sailing and very, very happy to be sailing.
Okay.
Loved that lazy, peaceful life.
So your husband's in the Merchant Navy, I understand from...
Yes, he's in the Merchant Navy.
Okay.
He was, when he left, he was a captain of a Norwegian ship. And yeah, so as a family, we've sailed together.
Okay. So how did teaching happen?
I started teaching at first when my husband was sailing, and so both the boys were there, and they were pretty little, like maybe 2 and 2.5 and 6.5. And it was a bit lonely to not be sailing and not be with my husband. So I thought the best was to take these little ones to school and bring them back and, you know, spend time there with other kids. I love children. So I enjoyed teaching and being around with them. It just helped me pass my day, and I just felt safe that the kids were, you know, close by.
Right. So you said that between teaching and this, there was a lot that happened in short stints. So could you take us through what happened?
So honestly, when I think back, when I think of my childhood, when we'd be playing, I loved playing hospital, and I loved playing teacher. I was very fascinated by nurses, military hospital nurses, always in these lovely white starched, you know, uniforms with the headgear. So I would try and put a napkin on my head and pretend to be a nurse.
Okay.
And with my siblings and with friends, there was this doctor nurse came, because maybe what was behind it was whenever one went to a hospital feeling unwell, it was those people who made you feel better. So I don't know if it was that or what, but they always fascinated me. These were the two things I liked doing. And so teaching happened first. And then there was this opportunity where a friend was he was a partner with this corporate hospital, and they were looking for somebody to generally take care, to be in touch with families that come in, to handle admin, to handle the front office. I wanted to try my hand at the hospital.
Okay.
And I must put in something here. When I think back today, I was probably the least qualified amongst friends, siblings, cousins and everything. But maybe what worked for me, and I've always thought of this, and I keep telling my kids that, is that maybe because of that, there was no ego. There was never any fear, will I go wrong? And it's amazing, even at school and in the hospital, how when you have no inhibitions about actually saying or being what you are, how easy it becomes to pick up things and understand them. And so, without any major qualification, it wasn't difficult only because of this, is what I've analyzed over the years. In
Thank
a
you.
corporate hospital, you have the the not so rich, the very, very low middle class also, because there's an emergency and things. And you have, of course, the well-to-do. And then you have people who have the money but are not really literate, educated. So they're absolutely lost. You'll be surprised at how there's no one and nothing to help them.
Between providing medical service and medical advice, there was a gap where people needed some help, a little comforting, a little direction, maybe.
Yeah. So what I always felt is you can get qualified doctors, surgeons, anesthetists, nursing staff, ward boys. You can get all of that.
Right.
But how many hospitals invest in people who can relate with people coming in?
Okay.
Like curing somebody is not just diagnosing, giving them the right kind of medication,
Right.
and that could still take time, and you may not really be curing the person.
Right.
But not just the person, it's always about the person and the family in India. Unlike the West,
Right.
if one person is ill,
Right.
the whole family is rallying around that person.
Right.
So I just felt that that was the role I was playing, I wanted to play. It was not structured in any hospital, but I felt that there was need. I still feel that there's need for that in a hospital. There is need for that. That's total healing, not just for the patient but for the family.
And you also seem to have a sense of detachment yet and empathy, which is very important for this role. Is that something you developed, or you just...
Yeah, that came over time. Initially it was a little heartbreaking to see people, all ages that you've been seeing every day, and obviously there were some that never recovered. But then gradually you learned that, okay, I mean, we all know that's part of life, yeah, life and death. But at least while they're there, if you can give them quality life, if you can contribute in even a very small way.
Yes.
And you're waiting, especially if it's a surgery or something, or an emergency, you're waiting for the doctor to come out and tell you, you're getting impatient. Doctors, nurses, everyone had their job, but I had the time.
Right.
So I could, hop in and hop out, and every 15, 20 minutes tell them how it was going. End of the day, I always went back home feeling good. So it was like connecting with reality in a way which I loved. I felt I could contribute. I never felt the lack of education, very, major qualifications, because this is something that was coming so naturally. I don't know if I could have studied to put all this together.
So did you pursue this with the hospitals?
No. So when I left the hospital, I did think of, joining another hospital, but that didn't happen. As a filler, I did work for a hotel for a year, as managing their elite club, and called Golden Mile, and yeah, that was for a year. I was really not interested in carrying on with that because it was a complete contrast. The kind of people I met, and everything was so different. It was about celebration and business, and you know, far removed from what you see in a hospital. So here it was about planning menus, and this is chairman of so and so company, and this is so everything had to be the best and laid out, and often it would strike me that look at the world we are living in. I mean, this is reality.
Right.
You're in hospital, you're different. Your whole demeanor, the way you talk, the way you are, your body language. And when you're in a hotel, the same person is so different. So, that was such a learning.
Yeah.
But not a very happy one. That wasn't me. I wasn't happy doing what I was doing.
But Ranju, so what you do today at Concord Comfort is hospitality. How is the hotel different from Concord Comfort?
In a hotel, it's very different. It's more sterile. It's more. There's no connection. Because of protocol in a hotel. You don't overstep. You greet someone, you meet someone, greet someone, you have their profile, and it ends there. Whereas service departments, what I'm doing now, to a very small extent, is like the hospital, because you can interact, you can, sometimes it's fun times they've come for, sometimes it's work the guests have come for, and sometimes it's medical tourism. We have a lot of medical tourism.
Okay.
So again, it's people in all fields and you directly. So here it's my own thing. So I make the rules, right?
Right.
So I can interact with people. I can understand them. They can understand me, and then again there's a kind of connect and a relationship. I won't say with every guest, but yes, with a lot of them. I just feel there is something you're doing to add to somebody's life all the time.
Right.
Whereas hotels, I found very synthetic. Nothing seemed natural and real.
Okay. All right. So there seems to be this thread through your life of personal connection with people, of wanting to interact and wanting to get to know them better, and for warmth and a real connection, not just knowing people, but having a real connection. So how did Concord Comfort come about?
Yeah. So Concord Comfort again just happened. Everything just happened.
Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah. So I had these friends, and they had this block of apartments, and they wanted to. Years ago, there were just hotels. Or they were company guest houses, but there was nothing in between. And there were a lot of people looking, a lot of expats who'd come on projects, looking for a place, not a hotel, but a home with all the conveniences.
Right.
Where, because like if they're not from Hyderabad or not from India, they weren't really familiar with how things work here, whether it's staff, whether it's getting things repaired, or it's, just sometimes they were there for just 3 months or 6 months, so they didn't want to get into buying furniture. And so that's how it started. When these friends came and approached me, and then they showed me this building, this block, and there was still work going on. Like it wasn't as though it was a building ready to move in. The other towers weren't even ready. The landscaping and things were still getting done.
Okay.
The lifts weren't working and hadn't started working. And then they told me that, look, there's a catch to this whole thing. Let's do it together, but we have just 30 days.
Okay.
30 days before the first guest arrives. And so I took a day, spoke to my husband, and he said, of course, you can do it. And then I said, fine. And we, traveled to Dubai and picked up stuff. So I did 3 apartments.
Okay.
That first trip was 3 apartments. I was in Dubai for 3 days. So the whole time I had done my homework, made a list of what is required, and again, like a home, or because I've traveled, like when I'm traveling, what are my needs? That is what any traveler would need.
Right.
So picked up everything. They had their office there, so it was shipped. And the one time I got really nervous is when the containers arrived and I was like sitting in this apartment, and there were like I don't know how many hundreds of pieces, cartons, which
Okay.
had to be opened. And in the meanwhile, while we were waiting for the stuff to come, I, through my staff at home, had managed to get boys from his village who wanted to work but had been in the village.
Okay.
Had not, some of them had not stepped out. But I wanted them like that, where it was easier to train them because they knew no better. You know, so whatever I taught them, they were able to learn. And so we just had these 3 apartments going, and they clicked. Believe
Okay.
me, they did. Like, people were happy, and didn't want it to be repeated. So each apartment, until today, I try and do that. When I had 60 rooms had different curtains, kind of different furniture, and a different look.
Right.
And yeah, there was a little effort that had to go in, but it was worth it because I was able to create what I wanted.
Right. What were some of the challenges you faced with this business? I understand it started in 2008 when Hyderabad was really booming with the IT business.
Yeah, so we started off with a bang, and then soon, I think a year later, was the Satyam issue that came up,
Okay.
and there was that terrorist attack, and after that, suddenly it was like a lull, you know, because and the after that the Andhra Telangana issues. So for a couple of years in the middle, there was like a lull. Corporates want everything was moving to Bangalore. Bangalore was becoming down, and Hyderabad was in recession kind of, and businesses want nothing new was opening. We were just well, we sustained. Lot of companies I know who started with much more rooms than we did, closed down. We were fortunate that, yeah, there were times where when business wasn't really good, but we managed to stay afloat. We didn't really reach that level where we felt we need to close down because we couldn't make ends meet.
Okay. But you stayed steady. What do you think helped you do that? What was your strategy?
I would put in very many hours on each property. And what I felt was probably different in the others was most people invested, started the serviced apartments, but they were not there. It was just their staff running the show.
Okay.
I feel that made a difference. I don't know if I'm correct about it.
Okay.
But I just feel that that personal touch, that personally meeting the clients, taking the positive and the negative feedback, pulling up your staff, for the staff to know that anything and everything that's happening on the premises, even though I'm not around, but I'm aware of.
Right.
And I think everything put together is what helped us sustain.
The time when you were growing up, there was already a movement of women wanting to have their own in a much larger way, you know,
Yeah.
wanting to have careers and wanting to be financially independent. And today, that movement has grown much stronger. Which it's a movement that I entirely support. And you seem to have struck this balance. You didn't start out with that, but you have achieved it. And you seem to have struck a balance and you're at a very content, peaceful place. I mean, how did all of this come together? Didn't you ever feel like you wanted to have your own independence, your own career? Apna naam?
To be honest, I was all of 16 when I met my husband, started dating, got married at 19, just out of college. And I was very happy to be on the ship. I never felt I'm missing out on more education or qualification or anything. I mean, for me, everything was Mickey, my husband, being around with me, the two of us together, and life was just fun. I think it was just a lot of fun. Then the kids came along, they were fun, and then slowly priorities change.
But you never felt stifled, you never felt like you didn't have your own identity?
No, I never felt that way.
Okay.
I just never felt that way. I know I don't have any reason to be confident the way I was. I'm being so, I'm really being upfront with you. But yes, when time came, I did start in a small way with the school and all. And like I told you, and yeah, to put it in a nutshell, it's been fortunate.
So, even if you had that at the back of your mind that everybody else was working, you had a certain strength, a silent strength that it still gave you your confidence.
Yeah, because believe me, I was quite lazy.
Doesn't appear like that at all.
I'm telling you. Yeah, another important thing I must tell you is that I never even felt the need for having my pockets full, as if my husband was there and shamelessly he'd take care of me. And I was never very demanding because maybe I came from a background like that.
How does it make you feel today, though, to be financially independent?
Feels very good.
Okay.
Feels very good. Maybe age, maybe exposure. And so, well, there's good to it and bad to it. On the whole, it's been great. It's been great.
Thank you. It's also been great talking to you. Thank you so much for being on the show. There was so much I took away from this really unique story. I hope you did too. If you did, please like and share. Please leave your comments about what you learned from this story and what you'd like to hear more of. I'm Deepika Mahidhara. Thank you for watching TikTok.